All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Great to have all of you here. We are going to be taking a look at the irony of surrendering to the fates. So today is February 16th, 2021. This is episode number 92. And again, today we're going to be taking a look at trait 30 in quality 5. There we go. And what we're going to be taking a look at is the irony of surrendering to the fates. So Moxie definitely wants to say hello. Well, she did. So here's Moxie. And with that, let's introduce our panel. So how is everyone doing? Let's start with Linda. Hey, Linda, welcome.
Thank you. I'm fine. Happy to be here.
Great. And Natalie.
Yes, happy to be here, surrendering to the fates.
Great to have you here. Welcome, welcome. And Anna, welcome.
Hi, glad to be here, and hello to everyone.
Great, super to have you here. Well, thank you everyone for being here, whether you are here live in our Zoom room, whether you are listening via the recording, or whether you're live on Facebook. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's take a look at this irony of surrendering to the fates. So again, we are in our journey through mind, taking a look at the emotions of February connected to spirit and the surrendering to the fates with family and friends, and the purpose fulfilled through the mind, through initiation. We took a look at the listener, which started off this quarter of initiation, this quarter of the mind. We took a look at principles, revolution based on principles last week. We are now in the fates, surrendering to the fates. And next week, we're going to be moving into spirit, the abundance. Abundance is a matter of spirit. And we're going to be taking a look at connection in family and friends, that tribal connection to others as well. So you can see that actually emotionally it's quite intense, as we can see. If we take a look at the chart today, we can see that both the 1949 and the 4130 are defined. Right, so we have the 30 here today. It's 30 in quality 5. We still have the 41 that is in our judge and discipline. We also have the 19. Again, remember we talked about that in our needs and social needs in communication, and the 49 of revolution in our values as well. So it's an intense period. We were just talking about technological issues and things like that, with Mercury being retrograde also. So and things, I believe, going direct, as Anna was saying, the 19th. So again, just it's about surrender at this point in time. So what is this all about? And again, we took a look at starting the year off right. This is really where the fates take hold. And again, just fascinating to see. We took a look at the 41. We took a look at the 19, right? So the 41 and the 19, in a sense, sort of setting the stage. We passed through the listener of the 13. Last week, we took a look at the 49, completing this particular strength of resources. And now we are in the 30, completing this strength of imagination. So it's potentially a very emotional time. You can feel a lot of emotions, like a expectation and a crash and disappointment, or a ratcheting up of the wave, right? And a crash as well. So just something to be aware of and pay attention to. So this is where things actually get started, if you will, in where the fates take hold. So let's start by taking a look at this 30 of the fates. This is the trait of feelings. Again, it's connected to our emotional intelligence, and it is all about feelings. It's surrendering to the fates, and it's the freedom recognized as illusion and limitation accepted as fate. We'll talk more about that as we go through. And it's the emotional awareness that lies between hope and pain, right? This is the emotional wave, as I mentioned before, of desire. This emotional wave that builds and builds and builds with expectation, and then can crash in disappointment. When it crashes in disappointment, there can be a lot of pain. When it builds an expectation, there can be a lot of hope. And the fates teach us that life is not what we expect it to be, it is what we allow it to be. And experiences are conceived from the desire that meets life on the highs and lows of the emotional wave. And life without clarity becomes a wild emotional ride. Now, whether you have intelligence defined or not, if you do have trait 30, even if you have an undefined emotional intelligence and you happen to connect up with someone who has the 41, or right now, because the 41 is defined, right? There is an element of needing clarity. Do not make decisions at this point. No matter where you are, on emotional highs or emotional lows. Those are the worst times to make decisions, especially if you have emotional intelligence defined. But at this time, since collectively we have emotional intelligence defined as well, it's not a good time to make decisions if you're on an emotional high or an emotional low as well. So I would love to hear from our panel. What are some thoughts, insights? What are some of the things that you see that's happening right now? You may want to also tie in anything that you saw when we took a look at the 49 of revolution up to today as well. Do you like to start, Linda?
Here. Yeah, the fates. Yeah, I feel like in society or in the Netherlands, there is like a hope or an expectation to get out of the restrictions. But it isn't happening. And we had a little hope today because there was the restriction of the night that you aren't allowed to go outside after 9 o'clock. It was a judge said, okay, that's not according to the law. So it is forbidden. You can go outside. And then our government at the same day, they also went to court, and now we just have our restrictions back. So
really? Wow.
So I think we crashed today.
It built an
hope.
expectation of hope, and then
yes,
crash of disappointment.
It crashed. So I really feel I feel like this is a time we really yearn for freedom. And it's the same analogy that Anna last time mentioned about it's almost spring, but it isn't there yet. And you just, I feel because right now we just had a cold week here in the Netherlands, and now it's going to be warm again. And I really feel myself also having expectations about working in the garden, like a feeling of I want to move forward, and all kind of feelings that I just want to be there. I want to work in the garden, or I want my freedom, and I really feel that I have lots of longings or feelings that I normally don't have, but I sense them now, and my emotional intelligence is undefined, but I really feel it. And also in people around me, just they want to, they yearn for something. But the fates, the weather, or the government, or whatever, will decide what's going to happen. But it's really amazing to feel it, and you have to really surrender to what is. And also I really try to focus on what is already here, because I feel that if I get along with my longings, I may be disappointed. So I really have to focus on, okay, but the spring is not here yet, my freedom is not here yet, but what is here? So that's my first take on this.
Yeah. And it's that recognition, you know, freedom recognized as illusion and limitation accepted as fate,
Oh
right? Kind
yeah.
of, you know, being able to see where does that lie, and kind of accepting what is there right now, and you know, what are the expectations. It can, you know, it can be very painful when you have, you know, certain expectations that aren't fulfilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is freedom?
Right.
To me, freedom feels what it you allow it to be. Do you
Mm.
feel restricted in not being able to go outside after 9 o'clock, or do you just go outside? Or what is it? Yeah, it's really what you how you experience things in your world.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
Beautifully said, Linda. Yeah. I'm curious for you, Anna, what you see.
Well, I'm thinking about the fates here and that word. I like words and what people attach the meaning of those words. And it's easy to think that fates are already pre-constructed, or that there's some
Mm.
predestination to what it means, the fates. But I think you just said it, Karen. The fates are sort of just what's at hand.
Mm.
It's not it it's predestined if you look backwards and you see the the decisions you've made, the frequencies involved, the people involved. You kind of see how today was built from yesterday or 10 years ago, or cycles of things, some of which are your part and some of which have nothing to do with you personally. But fate is sort of a combination of things, but you're not limited to a pre-constructed thing. It's not solid. We all have frequencies. We all have our unique frequency. So the I have a family member that has the 4130, and given this whole year with the pandemic and the politics and the health and all the stuff there, the future does not look as bright as it did.
Mm.
And they're really struggling. And yet, in present time, I keep saying, you know, where is where is this moment? What do you experience in this moment? Because your freedom is really in your perspective of
Mm.
this moment. And yeah, it can look pretty gloomy depending on which part of the horizon you're looking at. But for myself, I've got more experience behind me now, because there's been times I've been very down, but I understand the hope to pain, the emotional up, the emotional down, and the value of having the whole cycle of an experience. And so that's what I'm trying to just model, I guess,
Mm.
for this person to really realize there's heights, there's lows, and they're not necessarily, the high can be just as painful as a low,
Mm.
or vice versa.
Mhm.
That it's hope to pain, but it's also despair and beauty. I mean,
Mm.
they're polarizations, let's say. We
Yep.
can put any word in there, but the freedom, no matter what the horizon looks like, is in the perspective you have and your decision making strategy.
Yeah. Beautifully said, Anna. Yeah, beautifully said. Thank you so much. And how about for you, Natalie?
Yeah, it's. I first of all, I have to say something about this rainbow. That it's just the. It reminds me of unicorn. It's a unicorn rainbow. Anyway, it just so it was like these colors are not. Yeah. So anyway, it's funny. So yeah, we'll get to. So I have this in my design, and it's kind of like natural for me to surrender to the fates, and that is so funny because a lot of people are so fighting the fates, right?
Mm.
And wanting to control it or go behind the wheel or yeah. And so I do get the highs and lows, but I'm not emotionally defined, so I don't experience them so high or so low or expectations and increasingly disappointment. And on the other side, I have the fates, but um I had a boyfriend once said, "Oh, you have such a great imagination and fantasy, and then you'll get disappointed when it doesn't come." I said, "No, I mean I will see what happens, but at least I can have my dreams about whatever, and I am not attached to the dreams."
Mm.
Like it's not that, and maybe that is because I have the other side and not the dreams itself, right? So I'll
Mm.
see what happens, but as long as it's not there, either not happening or happening, right? I can just dream about it, right? So, but I'm not like if I imagine. I'm still waiting for my my porch, or what is it called, like the veranda outside, yeah.
Mm.
And I've had that dream forever, and maybe it's happening this year, so it's getting closer. But I'm not, there's yeah. So there's a lot in life that I'm not. Yeah, maybe that is the difference. I'm not attached to it, or
Mm.
yeah.
And I think that's a very important piece in part what surrendering to the fates is all about. Part of surrendering to the fates is not having those expectations. You can dream, you can imagine, it's part of the strength of imagination. You can play with ideas in your mind, but it's when you get attached to them and expect them to happen, and that you can also end up being crushed and feel the pain when they don't actually happen as well.
Yeah.
So it really is riding this wave of emotion and, allowing, what's there to be there, and dealing with what is.
Well, we have somebody in Facebook, Jamie, that has this in her conscious core essence, and her life is like a roller coaster. I hope it's a woman, but I believe so. Um, Sorry if I'm wrong there. I'm looking at the picture, and she has the full strength. And then she says also, so I said, so what's that like, right? To have the roller coaster. She said, it's being on a roller coaster, but always waiting for the beginning or the end that doesn't come. Like, so, yeah, I was like, oh boy. Yeah, so funny. Definitely a lot of beauty with them. Totally, the 41 holds the vision, but without attachment. Yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, woman. Okay. Thank you.
Exactly. Right. So, and then especially when you have no clarity or you don't wait for the clarity, right? Again, whether you have emotional intelligence defined or not, those emotional highs or emotional lows can pull you on an emotional roller coaster and a wild emotional ride as well. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this is a beautiful one as well. Alina. Yeah, Alina is sharing. In a way, it teaches us to discover the freedom, the power inside of us, and not to be distracted by the outside. A lot of us have tools to create heaven on earth, but we were never pushed to use them. And surrendering to the fates, in a way, I feel it's the same as inner authority, but
Mm.
both require to trust and not knowing what will come. And she also has the 30 in a defined function. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. And
Yeah.
and it's like and it's in a sense many times just surrendering to our design as well, right? Surrendering to what we're designed to do or what we're not designed to do, surrendering to how we make decisions and following one step at a time. Again, it can be a really magical life can be a really magical experience despite the ups and despite the downs and despite the roller coaster, right? When you allow it just to be.
Not despite, but even because of the roller coaster.
Right,
How
exactly,
boring would it
exactly.
be if it's just, flat and nothing's happening? Which is another one, but
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
because you can really. I can be like happy like a child when some like I will jump up and down when finally this veranda will be there, right? I will. This weekend we had ice since like 8 or 9 or 10 years. I don't remember. I grew up at the lake, so I went back to my hometown, to my where I grew up with my brother and sister, and we went skating, and it's like, it's like, yeah. So but it's just surrendering to what happened. So but if it was just like this and not this is a one time off high, because I had to go this weekend because now the ice is gone, right? So it was just this
Mm,
weekend, and we had to wait a week for the whole lake to be good enough. So it was, yeah, anyway.
wow. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Right, and then, in our weekend, it was kinda like neither of us were feeling that great, and it wasn't a great weekend, but it was kinda like just surrendering to that as well, not to try to, you know, um,
Yeah.
make it what it wasn't. So sometimes it's just accepting the downs as well as the ups and the joys.
I
Yeah.
wanted to add a comment about um, a minute ago. I don't know who said it, but about trust. Trust is so elusive. It's kind of like jumping off a cliff. But a lot of your trust is in your decision making strategy, your personal authority. But you can also look to your grounding balance, because that is some of where your stability is. And
Mm,
so that can give you a sense of where you are in the moment, and that it can supply the some information about where you stand right now, that
yeah.
helps you trust.
Exactly. Exactly. And I see something from Lisa Renee as well. She said, it's best to dream big and then allow life to show you where the limitations exist at the present rather than dream small and safe and realistic so as not to be disappointed. The key is not to be attached to the outcome, but the desire but to desire it all the same. Oh, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Thank you, Lisa. Really beautifully said.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think that a lot of us, I notice it with myself um, in the past years, that we have a desire to have something, and we feel that when we have it, then we are lucky, then we are happy, or then we
Mm,
are um, having what we want, or whatever, or then we
Fulfilled or
are successful. Yeah. And I feel that is really, if we are looking outwards, there are so many things, sorry, there are so many things that that we desire. There are
mm,
so many, how do you say it? Yeah, prickles. How do you say it? So many material things that, and yeah, how we should look like, how it is to be
mm.
successful, everything, but we don't know if we will reach that. But if you get attached to that, you want to, that you only are worthy or happy when you have reached that, then you are disappointed, and then you are really crashing.
Yeah.
And I think that lots of us, and sometimes I also notice it with clients, they say, oh, if I only had this, or if I only had that, then. But the fates will, you don't know. And because sometimes people are so attached to the outside thing that the chances and opportunities that are right in front of them, they just don't see it
Yep.
because they are so only, they're really getting drawn to something in the future. And when that future don't arrive, they will make up themselves for it, and they will just be harsh for themselves. So I think it's really, yeah, it's really important to accept that life isn't always what you want it to be, but
Right.
so.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like it says here, it teaches us that life is not what we expect it to be. It's what we allow it to be. And it's interesting, the 30 also is part of the human experiential way. This is part of the hero's journey as well. The next trait is the 36, which is crisis. So any story, this is the story arc, if you will, of any story, any movie, where you see the character at the beginning and they may be, awkward, or, their life's not really going very well. And then something happens and the fate takes hold and there's some kind of crisis that then throughout the movie they progress. And at the end, there's progress, right? That is our hero's journey. That's the experiential way. That's also what makes life enjoyable and worth living, just like Natalie was saying as well. When you can enjoy the ride, when you can watch the movie, when you can, really feel the ups and downs and enjoy every bit of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like we have the joy, which is joyful, but the lows give us the opportunity, the greatest opportunity to learn and to
Mm,
transform and to grow, right? And this growth then gives this fulfillment, or this getting into settling into yourself, or being happy with the now, or whatever, right? And yeah, so it is painful in the moment, maybe, or right, or not, but it will bring you to a higher um yeah, value. I've experienced some lows in my life, but you get, when you get to the other side, you usually don't get like back on the same track, but a little
yeah,
bit. Yeah.
exactly. Which, oh, go ahead, Anna.
I just want to bring in a piece about attachment. Um, because philosophically, yeah, it's nice to not be attached to things that limit us, but we're humans and we do attach and we need to attach. It's about how tightly attached we are
Mm,
to something. Because in the emotional intelligence function, we bond. We need to bond. It's part of how we connect with everybody. So it's not so much the attachment itself to a dream or a person or a identity or whatever it is. It's more how flexible you are with that. Can you let it loose if it's doing damage to you or somebody else?
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And when we take a look at the quality that we are currently in as well, and taking a look at the fates, we're now in quality 5, which is irony. This is the messenger. This is the recognition and dedication to transitory goals. So it's the elevation is the strength derived from the knowledge and experience that 2 steps forward and 1 step back is still 1 step forward. So new feelings bring back an old feeling before progress can take place. So oftentimes we want to rush things, we want to get through things, and sometimes we miss the gold. We often say the mess is your message. We talk about that in the profit potential certification, that your mess is your message. And so sometimes it does take a couple steps forward and one step back, but it's still one step forward. You're still one step closer. Now, the challenge is the anger engendered by irony, the frustration with its limitation, and a desire to eliminate the entire process. So, in a sense, instead of surrendering, it's kind of like giving up. It's like, oh my goodness, this is never going to happen. The stairway keeps going up. There's never an end to it. Whoever was talking about, looking forward to the beginnings or looking forward to the ends. And the frustration and anger with old feelings brought into emotional awareness with each new experience. So this is something I also have in my design as well. This is also in where my discipline, where I also my judge and discipline, where I can also get punished as well. So it's kind of like where I can get punished is, if I don't recognize. I'm also, my public role is a 1-3. So I am an authority and a pioneer. And the pioneer is, always falling down the stairs and getting back up and continuing to move on. And, so it's in a sense this perseverance that and the strength that's derived that, okay, I have to go back a little bit, clean up whatever's here so that I can take the next step forward and then the next step forward. Right. And, the challenge is when you feel frustrated and just want to give everything up because it feels like nothing's moving forward and you just want to throw in the towel and say, I'm done. Right. But then realizing, okay, maybe I'm not done. There's still a possibility. There's still the opportunity, and to, continue to move up that ladder, so to speak. So I would love to hear your feedback. I know, Natalie, you have it in quality 5 as well.
Yeah, I have it in quality 5 as well in my values, I believe. And it's interesting when I looked at this today again, like, oh yeah, I do have that. And then seeing the elevation, like, yeah, that's my life. That it's just, natural to me. And the interesting thing, you sharing about you being a 1-3 and I'm actually a 5-1, right? So I have the messenger, and I know I do this with you. This is like a little bit of our process. Then when Karen falls down the stairs, I go like, yeah, but we got this. So it's not that we didn't, we didn't go nowhere. We don't fall back. We still have this one step, and now, there's a little bit of trial and error in here, and then we move forward again. So it's really funny, and it is, I don't know, but it's sometimes it's so difficult to explain what you have yourself in your design because it's so natural to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I cannot get, well, no, let me phrase it this differently. When I'm really down and frustrated, I cannot appreciate this one step, right? So I've been there too, and the frustration with the limitations, etc. And yeah, but and then I fall back into an old pattern, right? That is usually what we as humans know, right? And then didn't I learn anything from my past experiences, etc.? But yes, you always have learned something, and it's just the next layer of the onion, and usually the onion we are peeling is quite tough, right? So it's our personal journey in life. But yeah, it's so I can do this very well for others, maybe less for myself, and then I call Linda, and then she does it for me. So Linda.
Yeah, I recognize it, but it's really fascinating now you talk about it this way, to see it show up when working with you, because it's really, and also when I see you work with students, because you are the ultimate teacher. It's really encouraging them and really also being practical in just explaining, okay, well, it doesn't matter that you don't get it this way. You already know this. So we are going to continue on the journey, and you will receive the information, you will learn it. And you are also really sensitive for their feelings, because lots of people and students, they are a little bit harsh to themselves, and they say, well, I still don't understand how this and this and this works. You say, no, it is difficult, and we are going step by step. I'm going to take you. So it's really, you are really guiding people and students on the pathway to the BG5 knowledge. So it's really, really nice to see.
Not only understanding the knowledge, but also themselves. Like they go
Yes.
like, well, now I know my design and I still do this or that.
Yes, that.
As we all do.
Exactly.
And you know, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and the other side, and I think that's what a lot of people, what I just also shared in my my example of that, people are really thinking about, okay, I need to do this, or have to do, or have something, and then I feel happy or whatever, is that when it doesn't work out the way they think, the way they desire, then the old feelings of past experiences, they take hold on them. Well, last time it also didn't work out, and their self-worth is going down and down and down. So I really feel that yeah, limitations in life, I think it's also something that you can feel freedom within limitations, that you are really are can be aware of, or have a feeling of freedom within those limitations. What do you need to feel free? And I remember Nelson Mandela. He was in prison, and he came out, and then they said, well, how can you be so so gentle and not angry about what's happened to you? And I said, well, I wasn't captured, because I had my spirit was free within the limitations. He said, because if I don't feel captured, I am not. So I really feel, and maybe that's the irony, also, that sometimes we put our own bars for ourselves, and we don't allow life to play out. Because what I really, and that's my personal journey, the fates has taken a hold on me 7 years ago, when I had a car accident. And I had a car accident, so that were the fates. I was and in my journey, and then it really was, okay, I have limitations, because I have an accident and I have neck pain and everything. But my freedom was within the limitations to choose another direction, BG5, yay. But it's really, you don't, it wasn't in my desire. My desire was to be ambitious and do whatever. And yeah, then there was a car accident. So it's life presents you things, because it made me aware of other things in life, because it really it stopped me from chasing something I was not, and was not for me, and life showed me other opportunities, and that's also fate. So it's also, it was my fate, so I feel it, to become a BG5 consultant, and life led me to, because I was going the wrong direction and I wasn't listening. I had warnings, at previous times, but I wasn't listening, and the fates, they took a hold on me. So, but in a positive way. Yeah, it was negative because it gave me limitations, but within those limitations, I also found my new journey
Yeah.
in life. So yeah, that's the irony. It can, we are both our own saviors, but we're all also our own, how do you
Captors.
say, the captors. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love
Yeah,
that. This is a really beautiful way of looking at this as well. And taking a look at sometimes, sometimes the fates hit you over the head with a 2x4, right? Or get you in a car accident, or, something happens. I fell off my bike and broke my wrist.
yep,
The fates, the fates take hold, and what is there to learn from that? What's on the other side of that? What can open up as a result of that wouldn't have opened up? And so, in a sense, the things that were sometimes are the most negative in your life, the irony is, your mess being your message, that it may actually open up to the best part of your life as well. That's the irony.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
That's happened to me. Yeah.
and in emotional intelligence function, the desire is what keeps us going. It can, the
Mm.
desire to, it's physiological. There's chemistry to it. We can't stop. We don't stop till we stop breathing.
Mhm.
So there's this innate life that keeps us moving forward, and we can move forward by pushing against a wall, or we can move forward by giving up for a minute and then something else can occur. There's a lot of subtlety in the process of how desire. You were talking, Linda, earlier about the garden, and restlessness is a natural part of growth. I remember watching my kids grow up, tiny, tiny. They would get so restless and annoyed and irritated. And then all of a sudden, they would be outgrown all their clothes. And I realized, oh, that was a growth spurt there.
Mm.
This was the precursor. Now the growth spurt's happening. Now there's new abilities, mentally, physically, all kinds of things. But that restlessness is a signal in itself that life is moving in us, and the irony is we can't stop.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah, I love it. And with this celebrity for today, we have Michael Jordan. He's a basketball player, and the life work theme is industry. You are a human dynamo, very busy working, building, and bonding to satisfy the underlying motivation for humanity's progress, a burning desire to feel emotional potential in each new experience. And I love the irony here. He didn't make the varsity squad of his sophomore high school in basketball because he was only 5'11" at that time. So he didn't even make his basketball squad, his varsity basketball squad, as a sophomore in high school. And yet, he ends up, being one of the most recognized basketball players in the world. Former high-flying Chicago Bulls shooting guard known as Air Jordan. He's considered by many the greatest basketball player of all time. He was a 6-time NBA champion, 9-time NBA Finals MVP, and 5-time NBA MVP. And again, in high school, he didn't make his varsity squad. That's irony. I love that. So yeah, and he has the 41 the 4130. So this imagination and this individuality as well, that had him this industry to continue to practice and perfect his skill. So I love that.
And with the 41, he was a really good trash talker. He put pressure on everybody. If you want to look at pressure, look what he did for the industry,
Hmm.
what he played. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. Well, beautiful. Well, it's so great to have all of you here, and it's been a really great discussion as well. And thank you for those that contributed also. Again, if you want to find out what your own design is and what you have defined, you can download your chart from the BG5 Business Institute website. Just go to bg5businessinstitute.com. Also, you can follow along with the BG5 Live, either attending live or you can watch our past episodes in the free resource library. And of course, check out our courses, our classes. We have our new semester coming up in May. So now's the time to start preparing for what's coming up in May. So would love to have you on board in taking one of our courses. So what I'd like to do is wrap everything up. And as we continue to move through the fates, and then from the fates, we are moving into, remind me where we're moving into. We're moving into next week. Oh, 55. So we're moving into abundance of spirit, 55. So again, we're still in this emotional theme. So I would love to hear from each of our panelists, and if there is anything else that anyone would like to add as well, either in our live Zoom room or in Facebook Live as well. Would love to hear from you as well. Just a few words on what to pay attention to, what to be aware of, and how to move smoothly through this next week. Would you like to start, Natalie?
Yeah. So especially with the one step, the 2 steps forward, 1 step back, in the world we live in, we feel restricted, etc. But we are moving forward, right? So maybe enjoy whatever you can and see, as Linda says, like it is not about where you're headed or what what is out there to feel freedom, to be happy, to whatever. Just live in the moment now. And yeah, that's my message for today.
Yeah, beautifully said, Natalie. Thank you so very much. How about for you, Anna?
I would just reflect on that the fates per se are not personal, and it's easy to personalize them. And of course, we personally experience our life, whatever's going on. But a lot of what's going on in the field right now, in the transit right now, is not personal for us. So that level of surrender or kind of staying flexible or being a little bit loose about what you feel, go ahead and feel it. It's not going to be a forever state. Just keep allowing it to move through you and move on.
Yeah, beautifully said. Thank you, Anna. How about for you, Linda?
Yeah, beautiful sharings of Natalie and Anna. I feel just open your eyes and see what the fates have for you. How do you say that? I know it in Dutch, but today my English is not that great. But what is come to you, and just feel in yourself what you are responding to, or what makes you feel good, or what is for you, and enjoy what is happening, and really feel your inner guide and your decision making strategy to guide you through what is going on, because there is lots of things are going on also with the world, the fate of the world. But how is it for you? And how do you navigate through that? So really stay within your own truth, your own inner truth. That's your guide.
Yeah, beautifully said, Linda. Yeah, and with the fates, you have fun with the fates, right? The fates doesn't necessarily mean that, it's part of the freedom is having the fun with, okay, this is the way it is, right? How can I make the most out of what is? Again, it's when you accept what is, then anything is possible. And so you can really have fun with it as well. Well, beautiful. Well, it has been an amazing discussion. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. And again, thank you for all your contributions as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. And next week, we're going to take a look at the abundance of spirit. We're going to take a look at the 55. So have a fabulous week, everyone. Surrender to the fates, follow your decision-making strategy, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.